Welcome back. If you joined me in my last video about my freezer inventory, you know that I have a big goal to use up a lot of the food that's in both of my freezers. I have a larger freezer and then a small freezer that's attached to it, my fridge, and I have the inventory right here for both. You can go ahead and watch that video if you haven't already, but this video is going to go into meals that I can actually make from this food, because it's July 1st and I want to use up a lot of this food this month. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down the list and I'm going to think of meals that I can make off the top of my head, and I'm just going to start writing a list. Once I'm done with that, then I'm going to start actually meal planning, especially for this week. It is Tuesday afternoon and I still don't know what I'm making for dinner tonight. Let's get started. So the butternut squash, I have about 2.5 to 3 cups of butternut squash. In the summer, I'm kind of limited on what I can make because I don't want to make soup or anything that's too heavy, for summer. I want it to be more light. So with butternut squash, I can make Gap's pancakes. I have chicken rice soup on here. I guess I can reheat that if we need a meal and I have nothing else I can make. Got lots of chicken stock. I don't know yet if I'm going to use some of it or all of it or none of it. Don't know. Berries, I'm probably going to just have to use them in a smoothie. I have lots of chicken and rooster. Chicken with mashed potatoes or something like that. I've got chicken breasts, so I need to make like lunch meat. Got lots of chicken thighs, drumsticks, chicken legs. The diced chicken I can make quesadillas or omelets. Empanada meat, that would be obvious. We would make empanadas. We got lots of ham pieces, so ham fried rice, and we like to make ham and pineapple pizza. And then meatballs. Meatballs can go with raw veggies and hummus. Taco meat. We can eat tacos at least 4 times. With beans. And actually the refried beans are also really good in this dish that I make. It has tortillas, eggs, and then you put beans and salsa. It's so good. I call it tortilla eggs. So I'm gonna write tortilla eggs. Oh, calzones or calzones. We have taco soup. We can do soup every once in a while. I know it's super hot, but I need to cook that ham, but maybe I won't until we're done with the other ham. Ham bones, I don't want to make ham bone soup until at least September or October. I don't want to make any more chicken stock yet. We have so much chicken stock. Pork cracklings are good for the ham fried rice. Lots of chicken again. Plain ground turkey. I can make warm salad. I have this pork roast that is cooked and diced. I can use that for quesadillas. With the asado meat or the barbecued meat, I could make spaghetti. And with the Italian sausage, I think I'm gonna make like a summer lasagna. And pork chops. We have this boneless leg of lamb. I don't know what I can do with it yet, but I'll figure that out. And then I've got some lentil chili. I need to make cranberry juice. And the rest of the stuff is kind of just odds and ends. So I'll take you along this week as I get some meals on the table. We'll go ahead and start these meals off with the low-hanging fruit, the frozen berries. We make smoothies almost every day for breakfast, so we used some of these berries for a refreshing berry smoothie. The remaining berries were an excellent topping for the rice pudding that my daughter wanted to have for her birthday breakfast. I cooked up extra rice a few days before, knowing that I was going to make rice pudding for her breakfast. We love making rice pudding from leftover rice because it's so quick and easy to make. I like to add coconut milk to keep it dairy-free, and I use both vanilla and coconut extracts. Towards the end of cooking, I stir in an egg or two for a little added protein and to bulk it up. We serve it with sliced almonds, coconut flakes, honey, and on this particular day, berries. It's so easy and makes a great breakfast, snack, or dessert. Now I'll share what we ate for lunch the first week of July. One really easy meal I rely on when I have no leftovers or anything planned for lunch is deli plates, aka homemade Lunchables or charcuterie. It's basically just some protein, raw veggies, fruit, maybe avocado if you have it, and then something for dipping like hummus, ranch, or guacamole. This particular day we had meatballs and ketchup, both from the freezer. I didn't reheat all the meatballs because I wanted to save some for another lunch later in the month. To reheat the meatballs straight from the freezer, I put them on a plate with chicken broth and reheated them in the microwave. I put the ketchup in a small saucepan to reheat, but then I realized that I didn't want the ketchup to be warm or hot, so I left some of the ketchup frozen and just mixed it in with the warm ketchup. We ate the meatballs alongside raw veggies and some hummus and homemade ranch. Another very easy lunch I pulled from my freezer during the first week was these calzones. I just reheat them in the oven, and they're a big hit for my kids. For my daughter's birthday lunch, she wanted quesadillas with diced pork roast on top. I was so grateful she was asking for really simple meals this year. We ate the quesadillas with raw veggies and some homemade ranch. I need to get out some empanada dough because it's solid, it's rock solid, and it needs to thaw in the fridge. I don't think we're gonna use it until tomorrow, but I gotta get it out now. So my husband's family was visiting for several weeks, and before they left, he wanted to make some empanadas for dinner. Empanadas are a household staple in Argentina, where my husband is from. They eat them quite frequently, but they're special all the same. It takes a labor of love to make them. We had some empanada dough in the freezer and some ground beef that had been previously weighed and labeled to be made into empanada filling. So we started with those two things. The result was these beautiful and most delicious savory hand pies that are a must to eat if you ever visit a country where they eat them. I actually took video of them a few days after they had been made, so it was kind of difficult to break them in half to show you the inside. This next dinner was from the very first day of the challenge, right after I had written down all the meal ideas for the month. Since I was running a little behind on starting dinner and everything on my list was frozen solid, or I wanted to use it another day, I decided to reheat the chicken rice soup and serve it alongside omelets. I added some chicken stock to the chicken rice soup because when I put the soup in the freezer, a lot of the broth had been soaked up by the rice already. On our omelets, I used some ham from the freezer, as well as sautéed onions and peppers. And some people in my family wanted cheese. As you can see, I was having trouble keeping the toppings on as I was flipping this omelet. I also served the omelets and soup with avocado, tomatoes, and sauerkraut. You might be wondering what I do with all the freezer bags that I use. I almost always wash them after using and then just reuse them. Once there's a hole in the bag, I will throw it out, but I get at least 2 to 3 uses out of nearly all my plastic freezer bags. I have tried the silicone freezer bags, and the kind that I got just didn't work. They wouldn't seal. So I guess I'll just continue to use plastic until I can find something that actually works better. For the next dinner, I got out some ground turkey from the freezer that had been previously cooked. I wanted to make warm salad, even if it's more of a fall, winter kind of meal. I roasted the sweet potatoes and cauliflower in the oven. I've wondered about the air fryer. If you have one, could you comment below and let me know? Can you roast this amount of vegetables in the air fryer? To reheat the ground turkey, I just put it in a pot on the stove with some chicken broth. We had spinach as the base of our salad,
and put the warm ground turkey and roasted vegetables on top. I added avocado and mayo on mine. I just love how this salad is so versatile, and I can really use whatever I have on hand to make it.
The next victim on my long freezer inventory list was chicken thighs.
Plan A was to make a chicken salad after cooking them in the Instant Pot, but I had to go with Plan B because I didn't get them out far enough in advance to do that.
I just got this stainless steel sheet pan, so I'm going to try it out. It's larger than the other ones that I have been using. I think it's about 2 to 3 inches larger. It's a 20-inch.
Plan B was just cooking them as is in the oven, of course with a little salt and pepper. I also made a quick cabbage tomato salad as a nutritious side. I had plenty of leftover cabbage, so I just went ahead and turned it into sauerkraut. We ate the chicken thighs and cabbage tomato salad with some juicy sweet cherries, and everyone was happy. Another wonderful dinner I make quite a bit with mostly foods that are in my freezer is ham fried rice. I used ham pieces, pork cracklings, diced onion, peas, and corn from the freezer. This meal is so easy to make. My 11-year-old daughter learned to make it a few months back and was able to make it all by herself. I'll share the link to my reel on Instagram if you want to see that. Everyone in our family loves this meal, except one child, who shall not be named. Crazy enough, this child isn't picky for the most part, but she throws shade at both my ham fried rice and stir fry. I love that the ham fried rice I make uses so many foods from the freezer and then leftover rice. You can serve it with green onions if you have them, and definitely soy sauce or coconut aminos and sriracha. For the next meal, I got out some chicken drumsticks and chicken broth. This meal was for my daughter's birthday dinner. She requested macaroni and cheese with chicken. Instead of water in the mac and cheese, I opted to use broth because it has more flavor. The recipe I use is made for the Instant Pot, but I really don't know how I feel about it. I do love how cheesy it is, but it isn't the tastiest mac and cheese I've ever had. I would love to find a baked mac and cheese that I can fall in love with. Macaroni and cheese is something we eat just 2 or 3 times a year, so I'm okay with using pasta that isn't gluten-free. We ate the mac and cheese and chicken with steamed broccoli and fresh garden tomatoes. Our neighbors grow tomatoes and share them with us because it's just 2 of them and they don't eat through them fast enough. Overall, this meal was definitely a hit for the birthday girl. And for her birthday dessert, we had ice cream cones. I was a little surprised because I thought she would go for the cherry vanilla ice cream, but she wanted the orange sherbet. The oat milk ice cream was for her cousin who is allergic to dairy. Can you believe we've made it to the last meal of the first week of this freezer cleanout challenge? I wanted to make a summer lasagna with the ground Italian sausage we had in the freezer. It's a grain-free summer lasagna, so we used zucchini instead of lasagna noodles. I like to make my own pasta sauce, so I had to get out the diced bell peppers from the freezer. And I used some of the tomato paste I had stored in the freezer for the sauce as well. When I open a can of tomato paste and I don't need it all, I'll freeze the rest in little ice cubes and put it into a freezer bag until I need it. It's perfect for using in a sauce like this. I learned how to make this sauce from my Argentine mother-in-law. It doesn't taste anything like hers, but I'm pretty much using the same ingredients and amounts as she did when she showed me how. About 15 years ago, I watched her make the sauce a few times and took the best notes I could, but I could never get it to taste like hers. Oh well. My husband and mother-in-law both say that it tastes even better than hers did. I don't believe it, but I'll take what I can get. I use a small amount of cooked meat in the sauce because I noticed that when I don't use any meat, the sauce doesn't taste nearly as delicious. For the lasagna part, I cooked the sausage separately from the sauce, but I could have just as easily added it to the sauce. I put tomatoes on one of the lasagnas because my kids always complain about cooked tomatoes like this. They'll eat them just fine if they're pureed in a sauce, but not in chunks. I really don't blame them, because I was just like that as a kid. This is a wonderful grain-free dish. However, because it is cooked in the oven, next time I think I'll make it in September or October, when outside temps have come down a bit. And that wraps up the first week of our freezer cleanout challenge for July. In all, I shared with you 12 amazing meals that all came to fruition using up food I had in my freezer. I hope I've been able to inspire you to do something like this, or at the very least giving you some good ideas for your own meal plan this summer. Be sure to follow along so you can be notified when the next video comes out. I'm thinking there will be at least one and possibly 2 more videos about this freezer cleanout challenge for July. We'll see you next time.
We have made quite a bit of progress.